Remarkable! Incredible! Unbelievable!
Save! And Spark are champions!
Good on Pepe! Goal! It doesn't get any better than that!
Hello everyone, welcome to the Game and Frame live stream. I'm Josh Pratt with Jake Gillespie on the commentary mic with me, and we've got quite a broadcast team as well behind the camera. Nick Krause directing, Benjamin de Brockett and Hoy Espinosa on camera. We are here in Allentown, Pennsylvania for the APSL National Final. It's been delayed by a few hours due to the lightning, but finally the skies have parted. It looks like we're going to have a mouth-watering matchup with a national title on the line. It's Westchester Predators against Nova FC, who are here for their fourth consecutive final. Delighted to have Jake Gillespie with me on the mic. Jake, firstly, doesn't get much better than Nova against Predators in the national final, does it?
No, it really doesn't, Josh. Thanks for having me. And one of the things that I'm really excited about in this game in particular is you've seen Westchester, who's brand new to the APSL, running roughshod over that Delaware River Conference. And no disrespect to that Delaware River Conference, there's a lot of great teams in there. But at every turn, seemingly, they are rolling over whoever they're playing. And now they get a real tried and true APSL team that's been here before, as you said, in not just the APSL, but in this final. And all the experience they bring to that, it's going to be a really, really interesting watch.
So, like you said, Predators, the new kids on the block, but they've blitzed everyone, and they perhaps had their greatest victory this season yesterday, 10-1 against Kickoff Elites. It was frightening. Do you think that still Nova have some advantage because this is their fourth consecutive final? Is that just nullified because it's Westchester Predators side? It's got so many big-time players who are playing, other semi-pro as well, playing high-level college.
And if you asked me that same question at the beginning of the season, I would say absolutely. The quality level in the APSL is so high, and the talent level so deep that I would have said there's absolutely no way a team could come in here and boss everyone around and score average 5 goals a game in the Delaware River Conference and coast, really. Of course, they were putting in the effort, but they were coasting to this final. However, they have done all those things I just mentioned, and the experience of Nova is going to play a factor in this match. I guarantee that. Is it enough to stem this attacking onslaught that Westchester has provided to us all season? I don't know. That's why I'm so excited for this final, because it's going to be really two titans clashing in the final where you want them to be.
And in terms of the semis that both these sides played yesterday, they could not have been more opposite. Westchester Predators, as we've discussed, smashing Kickoff Elite. The game was effectively over after 40 minutes, whereas Nova had a grueling match of attrition against the Pancyprians. All 3 goals in that game came in the final 20 minutes. Pancyprians going ahead with 19 minutes less spectacular, and then Nova with a dramatic late comeback to turn it around and progress here. Does that give Westchester a further advantage, the fact that they didn't have to expend as much energy? Or is there almost a part that Nova are used to having that really tough fight, and so they're almost more ready for the intensity that might be today?
I think it's both of those things, really. I think you give the physical advantage to Westchester because this match is being played less than 24 hours after those semis. And what Westchester was able to do, what the coaching staff was bold enough to do, is pull some of those starters in the first half. They didn't wait around. They didn't let those legs get tired. So their high-quality starters got out of that game quickly and are well-rested for today. But you got to give the mental advantage to Nova because they were scrapping and fighting and clawing for that victory through that full 90 minutes yesterday. Westchester was really only had to be on the top of their game for, like you said, 25, 30 minutes before they got that 3-goal advantage, made it 4 before halftime. That mental strain that Nova was under is a good thing, if you ask me, in an occasion like this, when you're playing against another top team and you're playing for all the marbles in the APSL final.
Let's talk about a few of the players to really be on a lookout for today, and there's no one better to start with than Ridge Robinson, who scored an astonishing 25 goals in the APSL this season. That is quite a number more than the amount of games he's played this season. Jake, you've seen plenty of Ridge. What can we expect from him, and how, or is there a way to contain him from a Nova perspective?
Here's the problem with, well, it's not the problem for Westchester, but the problem with Ridge Robinson when you're playing Westchester is, yes, he's the main goal-scoring threat. But the problem is if you put too many of your defensive resources on Ridge, they're too dangerous elsewhere to be able to contain. So the reason Ridge is so successful is partly because I think teams are smart enough to know they can't just double team that guy and follow him around the pitch all day, because those other guys are going to hurt you. But the amazing thing that Ridge does is he's not just a goal scorer, right? You think about some of these top number 9s in not just the APSL, but in soccer in general. They are a one-trick pony, right? They score goals, that's it. Yesterday, after that first half when they had the 4-goal lead, what this coaching staff did was put Ridge Robinson at right back. And you can make the argument, yeah, he's saving his legs, but you could always have subbed him out. No, they want his leadership on the field. They want his passion on the field. And by the way, in that second half, he sprung an eventual Westchester goal with a brilliant sliding challenge that he won playing right back. So this is one of the most versatile players, in my opinion, not just in the APSL, but in all of the Northeast. He's incredible. And I think whether it's a goal from him or not, his talent, his leadership's going to shine through today. And it's going to be up to Nova to figure out how the heck you stop this guy, because no one in the APSL has been able to do so.
Well, we might as well take this moment to go through Westchester's expected starting 11. Again, this was 2.5 hours ago. We don't believe anyone had to go home early for work, but yeah, these are semi-pro players. They're expecting Valentin Nice, who got himself on the score sheet with a spectacular lob in the second half yesterday. Things got that simple for Westchester. He's going to start in goals, and probably, I imagine, will stay there today. In front of him is going to be August Axman alongside Joe McDade. Hickerson, there's a slight doubt about, but Jake, it seems like you spot him, so probably he will be at left back. Wilson will be at right back. Jack McDade will be sitting in the number 6 in front of that back four. Mella and Ascoli will be ahead of him, the centre midfielders. And you mentioned the threat that Westchester have on either side of Ridge Robinson. Ayub Moho will be on one flank, and he's got a pretty respectable goal scoring tally as well. 17 goals this season, scored 2 yesterday in the semis. Dylan Lacey, who also got a brace, will be on the left flank, and Ridge Robinson leading the line, wearing the number 10 and the captain's armband. And then for Nova, I'm not sure how, you saw a bit of them yesterday as well, didn't you, Jake? But I have to say, I think Gage Leons, who didn't score yesterday, but looked very dangerous on the left wing, very pacey.
Army West Point man, if I'm not mistaken, him. So definitely, this is not, you know, the only experience that he has in big matches. He's going to bring, like I said, Nova, you gotta give them the edge in experience, and a lot of that starts with Gage.
I think the concern might be for Nova, and I felt this yesterday watching them against Pan Cyprians. They looked a little bit toothless in the final third. They did create, they had lots of good possession, probably more in the semis yesterday, but there was a little lack of killer instinct with the passing. They hesitated with the shots. Both goals, truthfully, were quite scrappy. A long throw, ball bouncing around, corner kick, same thing, bouncing around, goal-mouth scramble. Westchester's defence, how difficult do you think that is to break down, Jake?
Well, and that's something we need to keep an eye on, because Westchester's defense is pretty solid, but you have to remember that a lot of the things you see on paper, the fact that they only allowed 18 goals in 18 games, a lot of that is because of how overwhelming Westchester's attacking press is. So, truth be told, most opponents don't really have a lot of the ball in the Westchester third. A lot of the goals they give up are on big counters and stuff, and scrappy goals, to your point. So you may look at yesterday's, it's maybe a disadvantage because they were lacking that killer instinct, but those scrappy goals are a lot of times in big games, especially in finals, are what get guys on the scoreboard, because you're not going to get wide open breakaway perfect chance. A lot of them are going to be off set pieces, scrambles in front of the goal mouth. Who can turn those moments into goals rather than, as we saw from Pan Cyprians yesterday, maybe missing a few of those chances, which is ultimately what cost them a spot in this final.
It will be interesting to see how Nova approach this one. And to your point, Westchester very used to having most of the possession and really not letting a team escape their own half. Wonder if does Nova just try and get themselves on the ball, manage it, maybe play relatively conservatively, but just take some heat out of that Westchester press.
And that's the thing that's really impressive about Westchester's press is for a semi-professional team to have everyone on the same page. That's the real key with the press, right? If you do a press part way, if you don't have everyone on the exact same page, you leave incredibly large gaps in behind. And the thing that Westchester have been able to do so well is time up when everyone has to go. And the thing to watch in this game is, can Nova break them off of that same page? If they can get some of those presses part way, not everyone on the same page, using their quality level to move the ball around quickly, that's how you're going to be able to beat these guys. You can find gaps if that press can be beaten. The problem is for Nova, no one has been able to beat it so far in the APSL. Can they be the first ones to crack it consistently and maybe just call the dogs off of that Westchester press a little bit, make them sit a bit more?
Right, there's a big question mark. Can Nova break the Westchester press, and can they stop Westchester? No one has done so for a long time. The squad they're going to go with, the starting 11 we're expecting to try and accomplish that, is going to be Drew Hartman in goal once again, and he was very impressive yesterday. He made a big save against James Tristino in the first half, point blank, to keep the score level. In front of him, it's going to be the same centre-backs, Avalar, and the eventual match winner, Calaf, yesterday. He will be alongside him. Dorsey will sub in at right back. Hilton also starts. There's a note that Nova don't have Jackson Hall, who I thought was very impressive. Athletic, composed on the ball. He was at right back. He's not going to be here today. In front of that back four is going to be Mahari and Bernardo Majano. Majano, of course, the veteran in this squad at 31, played El Salvador U20, a spell with Maryland Bobcats and Michigan Stars and NISA, and that was a professional league. In front of those two is going to be Matthew Dean, and then the strikers, the attacking three, will be Gage Lyons again on the left wing, who I thought was the most dangerous Nova player yesterday. Jean-Philippe will be the centre forwards, and Jonathan Rivera, who came off the bench and scored the equalize yesterday, is rewarded with a place in the starting 11. Notably, actually, it looks like Wagner Marquez, who has scored in both of Nova's previous two APSL national finals, or the ones they won, excuse me, in 2022 and 2023. He is not here today. That is a bit of a miss for them, although he was relatively quiet yesterday. He had one very good chance that was saved. So that's the squad that Nova are going to take on Westchester Predators. Sun is just starting to come out here. We might be wishing for some clouds soon. We were originally expecting a heat wave of 96 degrees up until this morning when the thunder clouds emerged. Only positive for the players is it's kept the field cool up to this point, but if the sun does come out, it will heat up quickly, and we have got a red-hot cup final on the docket, expecting to kick off in probably 6 or 7 minutes, guys, so don't go anywhere. Myself and Jake will be back shortly for Nova against Westchester Predators in the APSL National Final. Hello everyone, welcome back to Allentown, Pennsylvania. Out come our two national finalists. Nova will be in the yellow, the Predators in the white. Nova's fourth consecutive APSL national final, a remarkable feat. They won in 2022, they won in 2023. They lost last year to the Greek Americans. But if they do win it a third time, they will have cemented themselves as the dominant side, as we just have our national anthem. Well, we've had to patiently wait, but the sky's finally relenting. And the biggest fixture in a 9-month season is just moments away between two of the biggest pre-professional clubs in US soccer. The last time these teams met, it was in the Amateur Cup a year ago. Nova won that meeting on penalties, which we will get to if it's level at full time. And after allotted 30 minutes of extra time. Jake, obviously these players were expecting a 12 p.m. kickoff. It's now 2:45. They had a lot of time sitting around in that changing room. How can that affect things mentally?
Well, and so I caught up with Ridge Robinson while we were in the middle of that break. And I said, hey, how's everybody handling it in there? What's the feeling like in the locker room? And he replied to me with one very simple word: frustrated. The Westchester players were frustrated. I'm sure the Nova players were just as frustrated, because if this was a regular season APSL game, I don't think it would affect play as much as it has the potential to today. However, with it being the final, with being such a big occasion, these guys were probably geared up and ready to go starting, at 11:15, 11:30 when they were supposed to start warm-up, and then they were forced inside. And they've had to sit there for 2 hours and 50 minutes at this point. And it's going to be really interesting to see who can flip that switch that they had to turn off, which is not something a lot of these players are used to. You flip that switch on and you get going, and now they had to flip it off. Who can flip it back on right at the start of this match?
It's a day for experienced heads. A few curveballs already, and there's a few more experience than Ridge Robinson, and there's none in the APSL who have scored more than him. He will kick us off here. And the sun has come out now, and it's getting hot very quickly, I can tell you that. The turf will be heating up to 96 as we are underway for the 2025 APSL National Final. Nova looking to win a third title and cement their undisputed dominance in the first 5 years of APSL history. Or will it be the new boys, Westchester Predators, who complete a remarkable blitz in their inaugural season in the APSL?
And
One thing the delay does give is the players have had a little bit more time to rest those legs. It's a quick turnaround from the semi-finals. Not a huge amount of rotation in either side's starting 11.
And this is something to keep an eye on, Josh. Already you can see Nova being very brave.
Just hang on a second there, Jake. Don't flip that run away. So pushing hard, weren't they, early?
Yeah, and it's something I don't think a lot of the Westchester players are going to be used to. All Delaware River Conference season, a lot of teams kind of, and you know, with reason, were kind of overly respectful of them, giving them some space on the ball so that they didn't get caught out in behind. And you can see Nova not interested in doing that, at least early on in this one.
Hartman driving up towards Gates Leon's, headed out by Wilson before it could reach him. Here's Jean-Philippe, who was kept relatively quiet by the Pan-Cyprians yesterday in the semis. Leon's was the most dangerous threat, I thought. Never afraid to take on a defender.
You can hear the coaching staff already not pleased with Westchester's pace of play. And again, that might just be relating to the fact that they didn't have to play quickly yesterday. Found it very easy against kickoff elites and not finding it quite so easy in the opening seconds of this one.
Hilton will take the throw, and he came on in the second half yesterday against the Pan-Cyprians. Nova used all their outfield subs. That's a good interchange. Majano, Jonathan Rivera, who got the equaliser. He's going to take on Hickerson. Dean, newcomer in the squad today. Ridge Robinson pickpockets him. Lovely triangle ball in the middle for Westchester, and Ridge Robinson brings it out. Lacey, another threat that Nova will have to diligently watch. Raking ball by Joe McDade, read by Hilton.
That's something to keep an eye on as this game progresses, because what makes Westchester so dangerous is that darting run from not the front line. A lot of their wingers will actually hang back a bit and then fly in on that weak side where the defense is generally not paying attention quite as closely. That's where they got a lot of their goals from this season, and I'm assuming where they're going to try and target today as well.
Jack McDade looking for a free kick. Yep, he's going to get one. Perhaps just too far out for shooting range.
This wind also something to keep an eye on. We didn't really have anything in the way of a breeze yesterday, and now we've got a pretty strong gust blowing away from the goal that Westchester is shooting on right now. So that might take a bit of the sting out of any shooting opportunities on this side.
Mohu and Lacey both over the ball. Everyone back for Nova bar Jean-Philippe. It will be Lacey. Floats it in as a free man. What a save by Hartman. That's spectacular. Point blank. Ball's still alive here, but Nova are going to clear their lines. Jake, you're a goalkeeper. What a stop.
What a stop that was. And from point blank range as well. There was no time for the goalkeeper to get that hand up and somehow kept that from going over the line. What a stop.
Here's Jean-Philippe at the other end. Drives it across 6-yard box, and it'll be a corner kick for Nova. He almost had to just direct it up, didn't he? It was coming with such speed. You could see he got a little fingertip on it to flick it up.
And it's one of those things where there is no time to think. That was straight reflex save from Hartman. And the ability to keep that one out, I mean, that header was probably taken 5 yards out. And for him to be able to keep out that effort, that's an incredible stop. And at such a crucial point so early on in this one.
In swinger here from Majano. Easily gathered by Nice. And he's going to search towards Mohu.
Here's
distribution.
Yeah, we didn't see a lot of the Route 1 ball from Westchester this year. They didn't really have to, but might be an effective strategy against Nova.
Here's Ridge Robinson. Lacey. Lacey looking to wriggle his way past two defenders. Couldn't get past Calaf. It's a sharp tempo at the start of this final. Mahari, or Hickerson, if you excuse me. Scully. David, Ridge Robinson.
Lovely piece of play.
You just shanked the shot, but it was really good combinations, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was actually Hickerson in the middle of the park there. And that's another thing to keep an eye on is they don't, Westchester doesn't really have any interest in sticking to that position that we get on the team sheet at the beginning of the game. Or the wing backs and wingers in particular just roam all over the place for Westchester. It makes it very hard to stay diligent and disciplined defensively for the other team. Nova won't see how they handle it today.
Gage Leons might be in behind here. Nice off his line with a improvised chest.
Nice was working on that yesterday when he was on the field, I saw.
Worked up by Joe McDade, or Axman even, excuse me. Oh no, it wasn't McDade. Both centre backs wearing black boots. Drew Hartman with the clearance. Ridge Robinson pokes it out to Mohu. Mohu looking to split the lines. Leons. That's a clever ball, and the flag goes up. That looked quite tight from our position, Jake.
Yeah, I think it was the right decision, but only because McDade actually made the very brave decision in a final to step up and let that runner go, because he was pretty confident that he was going to get the call. And you know, the thing about a decision like that is you're putting a lot of trust in the referee to make the right decision. But I do think that was the right decision in the end.
Here's Joe McDade. Westchester have had most of the ball early on and already have drawn a very good save from Drew Hartman. But Nova have shown in that offside flag and a moment earlier with Leons the danger their pace poses when they break the lines. That was a little loose there by Avalon. It may be punished. Mellor, white shirts with him. Not a ball with conviction. He gets it again. McDade. Mohu. Lacey screaming for it. Mohu still with it. He will give it to Lacey now. Lacey driving towards 6-yard box. Pokes it back in.
Nobody home at that back post, but what a run by Lacey, who had, by the way, 3 assists yesterday in addition to those 2 goals. And he is a creative danger man for this team, deploying him out on that left-hand side. He's just so dangerous, especially when he's showing the technical ability to beat players 1v1 on top of that amazing passing ability he displays.
Absolutely shredded Dorsey to get down to the byline.
One thing to watch going forward, Westchester don't make hay with pace. I wouldn't call them a particularly pacey squad. And just early on, Nova are full of pace, seemingly, especially out on the wings. It's going to be something to watch. Can these Westchester defenders keep up with those pacey players?
Both sides have got decent defensive records coming into this one. 4 clean sheets in their last 5 games. It's hard to imagine either will endure that. Here comes Ridge Robinson to Lacey, who shakes up deflection. Whoa! Opener for Westchester Predators. What a finals Lacey is having. It's his 3rd goal here in Allentown, Pennsylvania. He caught it well, took a deflection which left Hartman stranded. Westchester Predators, just as we hit the 10-minute mark with the breakthrough.
Talk about a man in form, Josh. Through the regular season, Lacey finished with 9 goals. It seems like a lot, but compared to some of the other numbers on this Westchester squad, it wasn't even top 3. But this final, yesterday's semifinal, this weekend, Lacey looks like the best player on the pitch. Every time that ball's at his feet, he looks so dangerous. And with a finish like that, it's going to be tough to keep reins on him with the remaining 80 minutes we have left to play.
And you spoke, Jake, yesterday about the importance from a kickoff elite perspective of not conceding an early goal against this Westchester side, because they're so difficult once you have to stretch yourselves out. Do you think, is this already a steep hill for Nova to climb?
Sure is, and it's a dream start for Westchester, because here's the issue. Now Nova can't sit in. They have to stretch the field, just as they're doing right now down this right-hand side. the space is going to open up in behind if the attack isn't finalized. As a foul call there against Nova. But the issue is when they have to commit more numbers forward, what does that leave in behind? More space, fewer guys to press for Westchester, making that press more effective if it's done right.
And not to make it all about us, but that was also the first ever Game and Frame goal with two commentators and two cameras.
It really, and what a fine goal it was too. It wasn't anything scrappy. What a strike, what a finish, and what a first goal for this setup.
And Westchester Predators may be on course to achieve it first. Still a lot of play to go, but in their inaugural season, hang on, that's a mix-up. Ridge Robinson goes for the lob. Oh. Probably a foot or two of the crossbar. Robinson has his head in his hands. He knows that was a good chance, and for a player of his quality, you'd expect him probably to finish.
The issue is there, Ridge, I don't think, was completely sure how close that on-rushing goalkeeper was. So I think he gave that one a bit more air than it needed. He had a bit more space than he thought, and ultimately I think Hartman coming out is what kept the ball out of that net, even though Hartman didn't get a hand to it.
Hickson got clattered by Jean-Philippe, and when Jean-Philippe hits you, you will know it. He's a big man. Probably the biggest physical presence on this Nova team.
Might be on the pitch. He's a big boy, Josh, and one of the things that I like out of the referee early on in this one is he didn't call that. I think too often we hear the whistle blow every time someone hits the ground. That wasn't a foul. It was two guys going up for the ball, and obviously the bigger man won that one. But again, just good to see the whistle not being blown for something like that. That's just two guys competing.
Hickson will take the throw in. Robinson. Hickson again. Two white shirts in the penalty area. Hickson spinning Dorsey, who's having a difficult start. It's dinked in. It comes to the far post. It's Wilson!
Oh.
It's 2-0 Westchester!
Is that a right back or a right winger, Josh? What a strike.
That was Benjamin Pavardest on the half volley, rocketed it in, and this final is running away from Nova. Predators are shredding the two-time winners inside the first 13 minutes.
If I remember correctly, I don't believe Wilson was on the score sheet at all during the regular season. What a first goal in the APSL. Top bins, near post on the volley. Come on.
Yeah, confirming that is Charles Wilson's first goal in the APSL.
He'll remember that one.
And Nova look shell-shocked. 13 minutes gone. They've got a huge hill to climb against this Westchester Predator side that's been nearly impervious in 2025 in the APSL. And they're 2-0 down.
Here's the thing we have to watch, Josh. This Westchester team, they're not usually the team to finish with a clean sheet. They do give up some goals. When does that goal come? Does that goal come now when the deficit's only 2 and at 2-1 the stress and the momentum can change? Or does that one goal come when they're already up 5 and they've run away with it and that one goal really doesn't matter, as we saw yesterday with the KO Elites?
Nova could just do with a bit of controlled possession here to settle down.
But that's the problem, right, Josh, is you give up that first goal. Oh, now we have to strain and stress and get that goal back. Oh, we opened up more space, we've conceded again, and it's just a vicious cycle, and that's why.
Well, hang on a second, here's Mayu. That was a really important block. It comes back on the edge. Not a great pass by Ascoli.
But as I was, just to finish that thought, that's the vicious cycle that teams get stuck in when they play Westchester, and that's why they finished with 98 goals in the regular season over the course of 18 games. For the people like me who struggle with math, that's over 5 a game.
Oh, that was then a clattering tackle by Philippe, who was going for the pass. A foot was thrown in there, I think by Mellor, and Philippe ended up rather clumsily poleaxing Mellor. I think the referee's going to use some common sense here and see that Philippe really...
Yeah, the problem with that is there was no intent to really foul there. He was putting his leg through what he thought was the ball, and it just ended up that Mellor got there first, and and unfortunately is now paying for it because the biggest guy on the pitch thought the ball was there and turned out to be his leg.
Coach Blaze has already got some subs warming up on the bench. What was it, 2 subs we saw for Westchester yesterday in the first half, albeit once the semi-final had pretty much been secured?
It was actually 4. And that's why I do give some credit to the Westchester coaching staff, because it takes a lot to have confidence in those substitutes that come into the game, that the quality level is not going to drop off and let the other team back in the game. It was only 3-0, I believe, at that point, and 4 substitutes came onto the pitch. And to have the confidence and depth in your squad to be able to do that in a semifinal, to have the confidence to be able to do that is a real strength of both the squad that Blaze has put together and Blaze himself and the rest of the coaching staff.
That first 2 or 3 minutes, it looked as if Nova had made a decent start, didn't it? They had a bit of possession, it's back and forth, but after that, it's all been Westchester, really.
And this is the problem when you play Westchester, is how brave are you going to be? How confident are you in your technical ability to keep the ball under immense pressure and invite that Westchester press in to open up the space in behind? And they were doing that, and they had, honestly, the better of the possession that first 3-4 minutes for me. But it's that problem. Once that first goal goes in, that doubt creeps in, and that thing in the back of your mind that tells you to hurry up and to push fires in your brain, and that's where Westchester get you. And it looks like we have a player down, unfortunately.
I'm just trying to see who that is who's on the ground. It might be, no, it's not a Scully. Not sure if that was from a collision. You know, I think he had a coming together with Matthew Dean.
Is that McDade?
It's number 7, so...
Axman.
Yep, it's August Axman, who I think as the ball bounced up and Matthew Dean got onto it, Axman got clattered. Nothing unfair about that play, but nonetheless can hurt. Whilst we have this delay, let me remind you, everyone, we are sponsored by Salt Athletic, who made the world's freshest, most advanced cleat bag. The air case blocks odour using antimicrobial technology, magnetically seals. Particularly helpful in hot, humid days like this when, to be honest, even us commentators and cameramen up here, we're getting sweaty feet. So definitely worth a look. And the Salt Athletic are offering a 10% discount to the Game and Frame community. Scan the QR code, add an air case to your cart and make a purchase, and you'll get 10% off. It's an excellent product. I know plenty of players in the APSL already have bought it. Big thank you to Salt for supporting Game of Frame in the 24-25 season. So Axman will go off with the trainer. I imagine we'll see him introduced shortly again.
Yeah, it looks okay. It's good to see. When you always get worried about possible head injury when you have collisions like that, especially it's not always when the players run into each other, it's when that head hits the turf. That's what can get you into trouble many times, but luckily it looks like Axman's okay to go out through injury you don't ever want to go out through injury, but especially in a final like this. So glad to see he's back on his feet and looking like he's ready to come into play any minute now.
I've just had to retire from a very promising 7v7 Bowery League career I got a 4th concussion a few weeks ago. It's no joke.
I am right with you there, Josh. That's why I quit my collegiate career, just to make sure the brains didn't get too scrambled after my 6th concussion. So it's always something to watch out for, especially for you younger players out there. Nothing to mess around with.
Wonder, Jacob, that break is just what Nova needed, just to reset a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully the coaching staff was able to speak to some of the players, because, as I said, this is the trap that Westchester set. They get up on you and you think you need to change, you think you need to back off a little bit because the press is so overwhelming. This is when you need to put your foot on the gas and get something back and create some self-doubt in that Westchester side. It's too easy right now to let this thing get out of hand. A goal here changes everything. But can they get it? That's the question.
Hilton gives it to Leons. Mahari. Avila drills it cross field. Watched well by Hickson. And he gives it straight back to Nice, excuse me. Sun is continuing to glare down on the pitch, and again, expecting very hot conditions. That will affect both teams as this goes on, especially considering that this is their second game in so many days. Lacey, look at that. Ole, it just ran out. I think.
Oh, did it though?
It looked right borderline, didn't it?
That was right on the edge. Obviously, the assistant referee's in a much better spot than we are up here, but boy, did that look close.
I have to say, on first glance to me, I thought it had just gone out, but it looked extremely tight, and it's always a shame when such a good skill is performed when you see it cancelled out.
That's when you really just want the ref to let him see what happens, right? Just, what a piece of skill that was for, again, I pick a man on the pitch with more confidence in himself right now than Dylan Lacey. Kid is flying right now.
Big rise by Philippe. Leon's off with his first touch. Mohu.
Look at that interchange of play. That is brilliant. In a really tight space as well.
Coach Kareem has a lot of thinking to do from the Nova perspective. They're being outclassed in just about every single area of the field right now. Outcompeted too. Held in. Avila covering. Dean brought it down well, and he gets it back from the skipper Majano. Mahari. Avila. Hilton. Leon's clever ball over around the corner, gets it back from Majano. That's well done there by Nova to break the press.
This is what happens, right, when the talent comes through and that press is broken. Fortunately, they lost the ball there, but when that press gets broken, you see all the space that opens up in behind that line.
Ridge Robinson made sure to watch Nova semi-final yesterday, and I think Westchester did their homework there. They doubled up on Leon's very quickly. Here's Dean. Majano. Leon's again. This time he's got Wilson one-on-one. Once again, a second man came to help out. But this is better from Nova. Leon's. And Majano. And Leon's. He was hauled down. Well, I wouldn't say hauled down. More, there was a body in front of him. Is Jack McDade. I think it would have been a harsh penalty.
Yeah. It's one of those ones where if he was a bit closer to the ball, I think it would have been a lot tougher of a decision for the referee there. But the Westchester player was very blatantly in between man and ball. So when that bump happened, it's maybe not as appealing for the referee to award a penalty. Whether or not that's the right decision or not, you can understand why he kept the whistle in his pocket there. But as you said, that's better, right? That's what Nova needs to do. They can't sit back. They can't try to stay super structured and organized. They need to beat that press because that's how that chance was created. It was opening up that space in behind.
Dorsey tried to kick that out. He is going to get it again, Dorsey, but Lacey had a little nibble at his heels. And the referee spotting that. Here's a frightening stat for you from a Nova perspective. Westchester's total goals scored in their last 5 games has been 29. They've conceded just a single one, and that was yesterday against Kickoff Elite. So Kickoff Elite, although they did probably have the heaviest defeat against Westchester this season, they did achieve what many teams have failed to do so recently in scoring a goal. A very good goal at that, it was.
The problem is, as we've mentioned before, is that vicious cycle. Is the further you get behind, the further the harder, excuse me, that you need to feel like you need to push to get back in the game, the more space you open up, the more space that creates for Westchester to exploit. And it's a formula that has worked very, very well for Westchester this season. But there is a reason why a 2-0 lead is called the most dangerous lead in sports, because the next goal in this game is massive. And if Nova can get it, the entire complexion of this game changes. If Westchester gets it, we might be in a situation where we might see another 7, 8, 9, 10 goals, depending on how heavy the heads drop for Nova.
Here comes Matthew Dean. He skipped past one tackle. Gage Leons has got some space. It's Leons who tries to take it first time and shape it into that top right corner. You can see the idea, not the easiest to execute, and he ended up hitting it well over the crossbar. But Nova starting to find their feet.
Look out, you see that space as soon as they break that line. Look at all that space in behind. That's what no team has been able to find this season against this Westchester team. That already Nova, 26 minutes in, I know the score line doesn't look great, but tactically speaking, that ability to find that space in behind is something that really no other team in the APSL has been demonstrating to have in their locker.
Rivera.
But can Nova do it?
Here's Dean, he's spun. Philippe, the big man surrounded by white shirts, and they got the ball without committing a foul.
Now that might have been a bit harsh. I think he might have been caught there by the Westchester defender, but referee I think might have been blocked out.
There's a little shove in the back of Ridge Robinson according to the referee against Avila. August Axman recovered from that knock he got a few minutes earlier. McDade. Axman, ranging ball. Avila kept his wits about him. Ridge Robinson hooking it back in. Mello. I thought he'd done enough to win a throw in there, but the linesman disagreed. Gage Leons, that's superb from the young man. Wilson a little loose with that tackle. It comes to Leons, and there's another gap here for Westchester. What can Leons do? McDade with him. Leons. Akers for Rivera on the right side. It's Jonathan Rivera onto his right foot. Low shot, very narrow angle, and a comfortable save for Nice. Nova knocking on the door.
Really good 1v1 defending from Hickerson there. It's really easy to get a little bit too excited inside your own penalty area and lunge at that ball. Hickerson standing his ground, and the only space that he allowed was between his legs, which fortunately for Westchester, Nice was standing right in that gap, and that ball, a pretty comfortable save, all things considered.
Nova starting to play with a bit of a spring in their step. You can see the confidence has gone up. The passes are firm and there's more conviction. They've wrestled it back from Westchester again. Here's Leons. He tried to force that pass. Wasn't really on. Not with the run that Philippe had made. I'll tell you what, Jake, I'm glad that the decision from the league was to play this final and not abandon it. They were thinking about it with some of the weather forecast, but it's turning out to be quite clear skies summer day.
Yeah, and what's really interesting to me is that thunderstorm probably kept away the most dangerous element of this match, which was the heat.
Well, hang on, here's the other dangerous element in the match. Ridge Robinson, who was judged to have fouled Avila. That was quite harsh in my opinion.
That really, really was. It looked a little soft, but I could see where the referee got that just because the defender wasn't in the right position, but man, that if Nova can get a goal back here and go up 2-1, remember that one. Remember that decision, because that was very, very nearly a breakaway for the most dangerous goal scorer in this league.
Pansiprin certainly sorely remembering two decisions that came in the final 15 minutes yesterday, which went against them. They felt like they should have had free kicks on both occasions, weren't awarded, and Nova scored from resulting plays almost directly afterwards. Here comes Nova again. It's Jonathan Rivera. It's just that final ball lacking for Nova. Comes back to Mahari, who thought about a shot, and then I presume was trying to pass it. And perhaps we're seeing a repeat of some of Nova's issues yesterday in much of the semi-final, where they got some good possession, some good positions in the final third. The finish or the final ball was not good enough often. Dean.
Hindsight's 20/20, but I would have loved to see Rivera have a hit there. He had the space to actually uncork a shot, unlike that one that went straight to Nice a few minutes ago, where he had the ball kind of stuck under his feet. That one, he had the space to really have a rip at it, but elected not to.
Nahari. Majano. Drills it. Crossfield. Pretty simple ball for Wilson to cut out. The unlikely goal scorer of the second. He took it very well, like a seasoned centre forward. Mohu. Melo gives it to Dylan Lacey.
It looked like Mahu's run was actually on there, and Lacey didn't seem too interested in it. Maybe just concerned about the numbers going forward, because it looked like that pass may have put Mohu on an island in behind that Nova back line.
Axman. McDade. Melo. Nova not playing a particularly high press. Once Westchester have it in the back line with Majano, the veteran, trying to lead by example there. But again, you have to factor in all these players played a game, or almost all of them on the field, played in the semi-finals yesterday, less than 24 hours ago. Mohu, effective long-range shot. He caught that decently.
It wouldn't have been the first long-range goal we've seen from Mohu. We've seen a couple of howitzers on goal from him, and that magical left foot of his, just a bit wide on that attempt, though.
Kalath. Dorsey, who has found his feet in this final after quite a rough start, and you can't blame him for taking on Dylan Lacey. It's been lost by Kalath. Melo, Mohu in the middle. There's a decent recovery by Kalath, and Mahari intercepts, sends up towards Philippe. Really good header by Jack McDade.
Kalath looked second best to get back on that recovery run, so fair play to him after, I think a lot of players might have just given up on that one after they got beaten, able to get back and affect that cross.
Wilson. Ridge Robinson. Asking a bit too much of Wilson. Gage able to play out of that corner.
I don't know if you just caught that from the Westchester bench, but they said don't let him out of there. They're being about 10 yards off of the Nova end line. So that press knows no bounds. There is nowhere too high to play that press. And you could hear the Westchester coaching staff barking at their players.
Not a great pass out by Nice. Axman with the header. Wilson inside. Westchester restore order to the ball.
And Hickerson in all this space. There it is.
Well, maybe he got caught a little bit in the wind there, but that might help Hickerson. Dorsey lost his footing. Hickerson!
Oh.
Couldn't keep it down. Hartman probably had it covered. It was straight down the middle.
If I'm Dylan Lacey, I am screaming at Hickerson. Because no offense to Hickerson, but with the form of Dylan Lacey and the fact that he had some space in the center of that box, it's hard to see that ball fly so high over the bar when he was in such a good spot.
Referee's just being called over to that far side. Not sure what exactly for. I believe Coach Kareem is getting a talking to. Guys, whilst you have this pause, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also to our Instagram at Game and Frame. We are the home of Northeast grassroots soccer live streaming. We're covering area from Long Island all the way here into Pennsylvania. 500 games a year from the top pre-professional sides to all the academies as well. And on Instagram, soon we're going to have plenty of action from this weekend. We already got some up there. I can tell you right now, for our June Goal of the Month competition, 2 contenders from this weekend already. Perhaps we'll get another one. Alex Pallas scored a marvellous goal for the Pan Cyprians and also kickoff for Leeds. Not sure who scored that one. Maybe you know, Jake, but that was definitely worth a look.
Was Lamar Chancey, who was about 30 yards out, it looked, when he uncorked a cannon that clattered off that post and in for KO Elite's only goal. But what a goal it was.
Calaf. Majano. Dean holding it up.
This little spell of possession here is a good sign if you're a Nova fan, because it's evidence to me that they're not falling into that trap that we keep talking about, where they're pushing too hard to try to attack. Keep that ball. Keep Westchester having to make decisions about when to press and when to stay, and see if the space opens up.
About 8 minutes remaining in this first half. Both Westchester's goals coming in 13 minutes. It was Lacey and Wilson on target. A slow start from Nova has left them a formidable task to win their third APSL national title, but not beyond them, and they have shown a lot more life in these last 15 or so minutes. We're really after the injury delay. They seemed to settle, didn't they, Jake?
That delay provided a really needed chance for the coaching staff to just put a bug in the ear of their players and just say, don't take your foot off the gas, keep going, keep going. The scoreline, again, two goals down in a final might as well be 12. But a two-goal lead is really not that difficult to come back from if you can keep your head. And that delay came at a time when it maybe just looked like Nova was starting to lose their grip on this game, and now it's firmly back on.
McDade with a towering header. Dorsey a little too heavy on the back of Hickerson.
Might have been a little soft for me, Josh, but
the Predators are taking this quickly. Lacey and Mellor. He's got Robinson with him. He searches towards Riz Robinson. A crucial touch by Avalar.
that's a great piece of defending, because without that, that could have been 3-0, and that's when you start seeing heads start to hang.
I'm not sure what exactly Hartman was thinking with that rollout. Mahari had 3 around him, and then he was forced to give it back to Hartman under quite a lot of pressure. Joe McDade, it sounds like, has got some bloody nose perhaps, so he's going to need a little bit of attention.
Well, I say you can't win a championship without blood, sweat, and tears. I can guarantee there are 2 of them now. Hopefully we'll keep the tears to a minimum.
We're going to restart with a throw-in right by the corner flag for Predators, who are down to 10 men at the moment, as McDade receives attention. Ridge Robinson. Spinning on a dime. How's he got through? Sets it back. Comes back to Lacey, who had a lot of yellow shirts in front of him. Couldn't thread it between them. It was Mellor who had that strike initially from Robinson's setback. Didn't catch it cleanly. How did Robinson turn his man there and keep that in?
I have no idea. I mean, that defender was draped all over him. Actually put the tackle in. I think he won the ball and still somehow didn't go out. Robinson, just another one of those things that makes Ridge Robinson such a special player.
He's got quite a low center of gravity, doesn't he? And he's very stocky.
And it's fun when you look at that goal scoring record. You probably think, oh, he must be a pace demon, flying at back lines. He's really not. He's just one of those guys that really gets it.
Gage Leons was sniffing around behind Westchester's back line. Couldn't connect on the pass. About 4.5 minutes remaining in this first half.
Look like Ridge Robinson might be having some shoe trouble. Not sure equipment malfunctions going on down there, but
looks like it's the laces. He's tied them too tight as well. That's a good old-fashioned player there, the black boots. Laces well done up.
Fits the overall vibe of Ridge Robinson if you ever get the chance to talk to him. He's nothing particularly flashy about him other than his goal scoring record, that is. Looks like McDade's requiring a kit change over on the far sideline because of that blood that was drawn at some point. I didn't see that collision, but it must have been a nasty one if he's having to do a kit change.
Yeah, it looks. I can see with the binoculars he's got the old cotton wool in his nose, so nosebleed. Philippe, he's doing some decent hold-up playing. That was good there. Matthew Dean on the edge of the area. Matthew Dean, low shot. It had a little bit of fizz to it, but comfortable for Nice.
Yeah, safe hands from Nice. And one of the things that Nice does so well is he always seems to be in the right position. And you know, sometimes you look at a goalkeeper that doesn't have to make a lot of flashy extended saves, and it's easy to say that you know, the defense in front of him is just so good, but a lot of times it's just the goalkeeper being in the right position consistently and limiting the amount of extension saves you have to make, limiting the amount of ground you have to cover in that goal mouth.
So it looks as if Joe McDade has put on the number 21 now, and he's back on the field. Okay, Leon's will scamper after this. He's got Jonathan Rivera in the middle. Other teammates making their way up. Leon has just kept that in. And it's whipped in.
Oh.
Philippe got a first head on it. And that really could have bounced anywhere once it came off of a Westchester shirt. But not a favourable bounce for Nova.
Not sure if I like that Nice was trying to waste time with the Nova player about a yard away from him. I don't think we're at that point yet. Not even into the second half.
Joe McDade with the cotton wool on his nose now. Going to soldier on. Ridge Robinson. Very tight in that space, but that's not going to deter Westchester. Look at that, a beautiful
Lacey.
combination. And they're away. Ayub Moho taking on Hilton. Moho onto his left foot. Avalar got enough in the way. Corner kick for Westchester Predators.
I don't know how many teams watch and do their homework on Westchester, but if I'm an opposing coach, the first thing I'm saying is do not let Mohu get that ball on his left foot, because it is a weapon. And there it just seemed like he had an opening for a shot. He didn't quite take it, but a little bit too easy to shift onto that left foot. I would be forcing him onto that right foot as often as possible.
Dylan Lacey with an outswing up. Headed clear. Wilson retrieves it for Westchester. Melo. Not a good cross, and they'll go straight out for a goal kick.
Ate his Wheaties this morning, did Malora. That ball was fizzed over. You know, Josh, they say time flies when you're having fun. We're almost done this first half already. Feels like it flew by.
It really has. Mohu. Scully will keep that in. Westchester can find that third goal before the half. They will make it next to impossible for Nova to rescue this. And that is quite a lot of contact in the 18-yard box. The referee could not have been better positioned. Neither could the linesman. And both are motionless. What do you think, Jake?
So it's not the contact alone. It's the fact that the ball was not really anywhere near there. And he's just laid a hit on Malora.
Just watching it back now, and I tell you what, Jake, watching that back, it looks like a stonewall penalty.
Oh, man.
He's thrown his foot in there. I think it was Avalar who threw his foot in to try and kick it. He came late, and that foot following through, I think, cleaned out Malor.
It felt like the ball was just nowhere nearby. And, man, just Nova can count themselves very, very lucky there. That's two decisions now. One just now, and the other one against Ridge Robinson on that potential breakaway that have just gone against Westchester. Seemingly the only thing that might keep Westchester at bay from how high they've been flying in this first half Unfortunately, though, it looks like Mallore's gone down.
Yep, there's Mallore's down. It looked as if he took a whack on the shins, honestly, in that contact.
Hope he's all right. Forget the penalty shout. It's the just don't want to see a guy have to leave a final injured.
Funny enough, it's someone on Nova's bench who's got booked. I'm not sure what they're complaining for.
I was going to say, you should be thanking that center official, my friend.
I mean, that might be one of those where Mellor takes his shin pad off at half-time and there's a big bruise there as evidence.
And as a former player, the first thing I would do is go right over to that official and say, look what happened. No foul, you said. Look at this bruise. And hopefully he's all right, though. Still down, which is not great. Tell you what, Hartman's a brave man. Chatting up Mohu and Robinson. Those would be guys I'd be having nightmares about if I was the opposing goalkeeper.
Oh, we're into stoppage time. I imagine we'll get another 2 or 3 minutes. Both sides are taking a water break. A little bit redundant, given they are going to get half-time very soon.
Yeah, those thunderstorms actually cooled it off enough where we didn't need a hydration break in this one, which is good for a number of reasons. One being that it doesn't give the coaches that extra tactical talk, and you get to really see what both sides can do on merits alone.
Still some debate going on around the Nova bench. I'm not sure if it's Coach Karim or his assistant who...
I just can't imagine what he'd be so upset about. I mean, if you look at the big decisions in this match, there have been 2 of them for me, and both went in favor of Nova.
I'm not sure what it is that Coach Karim is complaining about now. I did hear him say maybe a number. Maybe it's the number of stoppage time, the stoppage time, or I'm happy about that.
I'm really not sure about that one, but
now the referee's going over to Westchester's bench. So he's gone over to talk to the Westchester assistant coach who went over to Nova's area. No technical area marked out here, but I think anyone can see that's probably outside the bounds of where he should have been. And finally, after a lengthy delay, we'll restart. Mellor's awaiting a return to the field. I expect we're going to have another 2 or 3 minutes to play here. We'll see. Doesn't look like we have the 4th official board today. Mahari, that's a good ball. Hilton. Pierre. Or Felipe, excuse me. Hilton again. Can they get a delivery in here with Nova? Hilton towards the edge.
oh,
Leon's looking for a little reverse ball to Matthew Dean. Didn't pay off, but Leon's then winning it back. Good work by the winger.
you're the Nova fans shouting, you're in the stands, play quicker.
They did have some very vocal advice for Nova for much of yesterday. I have to say, a lot of tactical advice. I'm not entirely convinced they were qualified to give. But every fan is welcome to have an opinion.
That's the beautiful thing about being fan. You don't need to be qualified, and no one can stop you from saying it.
Philippe into Gage Leons. You could see the frustration from Leons as he chased that. He knew it was just overcooked the pass. That's probably the final action of this first half. It's 2-0 to Westchester. You could probably say Nova are fortunate it's not more. Hartman made an excellent save early on. Save of the tournament. No doubt, at least so far. And also there's been a very contentious penalty shout waved away. A penalty shout for Westchester Predators. That, watching it back, looked pretty stonewall contact. Mohu.
some substitutes warming up for Westchester. It's an odd time if there weren't maybe plans to make halftime changes. Then maybe something to keep an eye on as we start the second half.
Dylan Lacey, who got the scoring underway here. Clever pass. Scully. Mello. And the flag is up. That was a cheap offside to give away from Mello. Just didn't watch carefully enough the line.
It's always frustrating as a spectator when a winger gives up an offside like that, because they can look down that whole line and see where's that last man at. You can forgive a number 9 in the middle of the pitch who has two sides to be aware of, but really, really frustrating from the Westchester perspective to be offsides there when he had so much space.
Jack McDade unable to turn away from the press, but he was impeded by Philippe. And a yellow card is going to be issued, I think, to Mahari, it appears. I believe that's the first yellow of the afternoon as well.
It was, and just dissent, because he wasn't the man involved in the challenge, I don't believe so.
Yeah.
Just must have said something not very nice to our lead official.
US Soccer has issued guidelines clamping down on referee dissent, which I think is very good, because there's a huge crisis of referee shortages in America. Here's Dylan Lacey. Mind you, I'm the first to criticise a referee when they make a mistake, but I think the issue is when it gets personal and when players get to name calling and stuff.
That's the thing with officiating. It's such a tough job, and unless you've done it before, you don't really appreciate how difficult it is. And having done it before.
Now Lacey's gone in the book for 2.
Yeah, it looks like another piece of dissent there.
Oh, the referee's drawn quite a firm line here. He's not going to tolerate it. Joe Holland got sent off yesterday in the semi-final for the Pan Cyprians. The first yellow was for referee dissent. The second was for clumsy push. The heat is rising on the field, and it's starting to rise in the tempers too. Another yellow is going to be issued, 3 in space of about 90 seconds. I think it's Rivera who's going to add his name to the book. So clumsy tackle.
Another piece of this, Josh. We're approaching the 54th minute of this first half. 9 minutes of stoppage time, and through 50 minutes of play, 0 yellows, and then in the last 4, 3 yellows.
And then something has gone off on the bench as well. Lacey towards the far post. That's an interesting ball. Headed back into the mix. The ball has gone out.
Hasn't seen it, I don't believe. There we go.
Josh, this never happened. You look at Josh happened. Camera 1 froze.
Okay, that's fine.
Just happened.
Well, there's our half-time whistle. A lot of stoppage time played. It's Westchester who scored 2 goals in the first 13 minutes. They're the advantage. Temperature's really rising towards that half-time whistle. Nova with a lot of work to do. Guys, do not grin at. Jake and I will be back shortly with the second half.
My name is Austin Brummett. I'm a men's soccer player at San Diego State University and I play forward. The Salt Air Case helps block odor from my cleats when I'm driving in my car or when I'm keeping my cleats inside my house, so I don't have to worry about it stinking up my room. It helps me keep track of my cleats and my shin guards so I know that they're together and I don't have to worry about tracking them down or losing them or stressing out about where they are. I would definitely rock this, walking to the games, walking around to my trainings. And it's super helpful for travel. When I travel in the airport to go to away games, it's not going to stink up my backpack or stink up the plane where I'm sitting. Magnetic strip on the top is super easy to open to take my cleats out and to put my cleats back in. I think it's an essential part of my outfit for soccer and it helps keep all my stuff organized and stink-free.
A quality highlight reel is crucial for college and pro recruitment. A lot of services offer generic solutions, but at Game & Frame we know every player is unique and needs a personalised approach to win over coaches. Our process is simple. We work with any footage, and if you need help finding your best plays, we'll review games for you. Once we've finished, you'll have a reel you can upload to any recruitment platform. We've helped hundreds of players get the attention they deserve, including placements in Division 1 programs. Scan the QR code or email us for a free consultation and start the journey to maximize your recruitment potential. Hello everyone, welcome back to Allentown, Pennsylvania. Nova FC down but not out. So far, this final's followed a similar script to last year's, where the Greek Americans went 2-0 up in the first half. There was an early goal on that one too. Nova were not able to find a breakthrough in the second period and finished losing 2-0. Welcome back to Allentown, Penn. Jake, if you're in Nova's shoes, what is the halftime team talk from Coach Kareem?
Honestly, I think it's just what we were mentioning during that first half, which is you can't cave to that Westchester trap of getting yourself too stretched, because you do need 2 goals. Obviously, you can't sit back too much, but the tempting thing to do is fling numbers forward. And the way Westchester plays, if you don't score when you commit numbers forward, chances are Westchester's going to have a really good chance at the other end. So you need to be disciplined even as the minutes tick by and things aren't going your way. If they can get a goal back here in the next 20 to 25 minutes and they can keep Westchester off the board, if that deficit gets halved, we're going to be in for a really, really exciting finish. But if Westchester gets this next goal, you fear that the heads are going to start to drop for Nova.
Looks as if both sides are unchanged going into the second half. As Jean-Philippe will kick things off. Nova won their first 2 APSL national finals. They lost last year. Is it going to be a back-to-back defeat, or can they turn this around against Predators? They showed signs of life as the half progressed. They created some decent half chances. But truthfully, they're probably fortunate, weren't they, Jake, not to go 3 down with the penalty shout and a few of the other missed chances for Westchester.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, Nova, you could argue, may have had 1 or 2 goals, and Westchester may have had 1 or 2 more. This game could be 2-2, it could be 4-0. We sit at 2-0. I think all things considered, Nova will take that, again, if they can get this next goal back.
Calaf. Philippe. I think his intended target was Majano. He wasn't on the same wavelength. Philippe throwing himself into the tackle. Never holds back the weight.
As we get deeper into this second half, we have to keep in mind that these 2 squads played a game in the sweltering heat less than 24 hours ago. So whose legs are going to hold up again? Westchester able to rotate a lot of that squad yesterday early on. That might become a big factor as the minutes tick by.
Here's Dorsey. Driving forwards. He didn't play yesterday, so he's fresh, and he's taken them on in 3s and 4s. Dorsey is saved. It comes to Gage Leons. The chance may have gone on the edge. Low shot by Hilton.
What a crucial touch by Nice.
I just wonder if that final ball was off, Jake. The run was spectacular by Dorsey, but could he have gone low for a teammate across the 6-yard box?
It looked like it beat, 5 Westchester players, as it looks like the referee was catching some flack for getting in the way of play.
He gave a little give and go with Scully, I think, in the middle, off his tummy.
Oh, I meant to mention, I got some intel at halftime that the Nova coaching staff was upset with some language that may or may not have been used by a Westchester player. That was what the animation was from the Nova bench towards the referee. But obviously the referee felt it wasn't an issue.
It's played through him, and John, the skipper, he's around Nice. Oh. And the angle was too tight for him to finish.
And again, it's the same thing that Hartman did in the first half. Nice actually deciding to come to close that space, even though he didn't get a hand to it, forced the player wide and made that angle too tight to cut that ball back across.
A decent first 3 minutes of this half by Nova. Got into good positions. There's this yellow card out here for Rivera. Oh no, that might be a red. It is.
It's his second.
Rivera's off. Oh, it's a huge decision by the referee. I really hope he's got that one right. I must confess, I didn't really see it in real time because we were just looking at our notes. I'm going to watch it back in a second. I mean, there's a player down. Rivera got a heavy first touch. He turned his back. And I'm not sure about that because he didn't really throw himself into that tackle. It's more he turned his back and the player jumped onto him.
An absolute foul for sure. Is it a yellow? And here's the thing. We don't like to talk about this from the referee's perspective. But a first yellow and a second yellow are not created equal, Josh. And for me to give a second yellow on that, it feels harsh. On first look, it feels really harsh. Again, I always give the caveat. That referee's in a much better position than we are. But from what our cameras captured, it feels really, really harsh.
Nova's positive start in this half undone in the blink of an eye. They would need a Herculean effort to turn this around, particularly in the heat. Got to say, as a neutral, it's frustrating. The referee might just have killed this final.
These are the kind of things that when you're playing Westchester in perfect conditions for your team, it's a struggle. And then something like this happens and it just seems like the hill might be too tall to climb if you're a Nova player or fan.
It's Mellor who's down again. I think no play acting from him. He really did get. Paul actually jumped in. He's taken a few knocks. I think this might be the end of his afternoon. The first yellow, if I remember rightly, is for dissent, wasn't it, for Rivera?
Yeah, I believe so.
And so that is on him, really. That was a needless yellow to get.
And that's the reason, if you're a player watching at home, you can't afford to take yellows for dissent. This game is tricky enough, you know, especially with the way the game's called now, where yellows are a bit more frequent than in the past. You can't afford to give away a cheap yellow like that. And as undeserved as I think the shouts were at the referee from the Nova staff in the first half, I think they might just have an argument that the coaching staff is being very animated to make, and a yellow card was just issued to one of the coaches over there. Be interesting to see how Nova's shape changes now that they're going to be down a man, because again, you can't afford to just sit in.
We have two subs being made. Now who's going to come off?
So Mohu's one.
And he's going to be replaced by Michael Tidite. And they haven't made the second.
Yeah, it looks like just
sub.
one right now.
So Mohu off. Tidite's on. There's no question now. If Westchester don't lift their first ever APSL national title, they will have thrown this recklessly away. They had 2 goals ahead and now they're a man up. And they should really put Nova to the sword now, shouldn't they, Jake? With so long left to go.
And the thing that Westchester does better than anyone I've seen at this level is take advantage of space. So that, honestly, is probably the worst thing that could have happened from the Nova perspective, because you've just created more space.
Tidite, it's Ridge Robinson. It's inevitable. Ridge Robinson with his 26th goal of the APSL season. The newcomers, Westchester Predators, are about to complete a fairy tale inaugural season.
Not to sound reckless, Josh, but I would have bet my house on Ridge Robinson putting that chance away. The most accomplished goal scorer of the APSL campaign gets a tried and true chance with really no pressure from Nova to speak of. And again, as I was saying in the build up to that, this is the issue. When you create more space for this team, they are positively lethal.
Certainly is reckless by Jake. I understand you're moving into your new house tomorrow. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, actually, it was last week. But yes, yeah.
Congratulations. So a brand new house.
Appreciate that, yeah. And,
congratulations.
And as don't tell my wife, but I would have bet it. I would have put it on the line. because Ridge Robinson just simply doesn't miss those kinds of chances. And if you're a Nova player or fan, it's a nightmare to see him running in on goal.
Well, you have to feel for Nova. Put together their game plan at half-time and made a decent start. Obviously, so much work to do against this Predator side, but that red card has well and truly sunk the ship. And the third goal, I think within 30 seconds of play restarting. They've made a double change. Filer is on at left back. But this could be a very long second half for Nova at this point. Still 35 minutes to play in this high heat, a man down.
Here's the problem, though. They're stretching themselves. You see this, all the space for Ridge, and here comes that ball.
Lacey. T. Dites. Wilson back to T. Dites. So the other player who came on is Cavillo, who's now wearing the captain's armband for Nova. He's gone into the number 8 position. Lacey. Robinson.
There it is.
Ridge Robinson, 4.
Clinical. Absolutely clinical.
It's been a relatively quiet afternoon for Ridge Robinson up to this point, but he's just shown his quality. 2 chances in 2 minutes, and both of them tucked home with ruthless efficiency.
You also are seeing the creative nature of Dylan Lacey on full display. He did score 2 of his own goals yesterday, but 3 assists yesterday, and he's just one of those players that seemingly sees the entire field wherever he may be on the pitch, and just causing tons of problems for this Nova team.
Nova are going to make more subs. All is in vain now. It's a triple substitution. Gabe Leons is off. Looks as if Philippe as well. And Mahari too, all making way. We may be seeing a game that's going to follow the typical Predator script, Jake, of a frighteningly big scoreline at this point.
And you know, it's just a shame the way it transpired. This may have been the end result, but it looked like Nova had turned over a new leaf in this match. They were on the front foot, and then just a silly challenge from the Nova player gets punished with a second yellow. And like I say, it's just even in perfect conditions against Westchester, it's a tough match. When you go a man down, it just seems like a task that's too tall, even for a team as storied as Nova.
So 2 of the players who have come on for Nova, it's West who just held that ball in. That long throw gave Nova that equaliser yesterday against the Pan Cyprians. Also Savage on. We'll just try and get a look at who was the final player on in a second. Looks like it's Gary Zhang also on. He's in the defensive midfield position. It's just about damage control for Nova now. It feels like a long time ago, but it was only about 10 minutes ago that Nova had quick-fire chances to try and pull this game back to 2-1.
The ebb and flow of this match really has been fun. I think Nova really got the better of play that first 5 minutes or so. Westchester obviously dominating, but then towards the end of that second half, maybe edged back to Nova. And then certainly to start the second half, I mean, I think you give the edge to Nova until obviously they went a man down, which ultimately was their undoing.
Lacey. Scully. Wilson gives it to Dites. Scully. There's a gap on the left side. And that was a very clumsy tackle by Alton West, who looks incredulous, but I don't think I've seen a clearer free kick in my life.
Yeah, he was not thrilled with that decision, but I think maybe when he watches the tape, he'll understand why the referee blew the whistle. But
And guess who took that knock? Melo.
He's gonna get a well-deserved ice bath. Ooh, a little shove there from the Nova player, but just see, this is I don't understand. You're already a man down, and then you shove a guy after the free kick's already been awarded. What's the purpose? What are you thinking?
Certainly tempting fate. Lacey's placed this ball down rather ominously. Jack McDade also standing over it. This is prime shooting position, about 20 yards out.
Real trick is, can he get that ball up over that wall and then back under the bar? You wonder if it might just be a touch too close to get it up and down, but we'll see.
It's Lacey low, tipped around the post by Hartman.
No, I actually think that might have been, did he save that?
I think he got the hand to it.
That's a really nice save, actually, because that's one where, as a goalkeeper, you're almost taking that first step to the right because you're assuming he's going to try and tuck that one in your far post. So really solid goalkeeping by Hartman to just stay home and get a touch on that.
It looks as if the final outfield change for Nova has been prepared. AJ Schetter, who scored the first goal in Nova's final victory in 2022 against the Pan Cyprians, a veteran of this side. Lacey will drill it in low. An initial touch by, I think, Calaf. Actually, looks like it was Hilton. The change will be made for Nova. Calaf will be withdrawn.
Again, we talk about just kind of the luck of the draw from yesterday. The Predators getting that first game, giving themselves more time to recover. And now, for Nova, they had the late game, and now with a man down, the legs of the players remaining on the pitch are going to be really put to the test, especially as the heat's starting to tick up. Forecast is saying 86, but the heat index closer to 90.
Filer. Good ball around the corner by Dean. That's just a number advantage now for Predators. So hard for Nova to play out of the tight press. Here's Dean. West driving forwards, and West has been brought
That's
down.
gotta be a foul, right? Where was it though?
Just on this penalty. I think that looked right to me, honestly.
Man, could it get any closer to that penalty area? Do you see where that foot is for the referee? This coaching staff for Nova's got to be very careful. Already on a yellow.
Looks as if Latona's going to come on as well, the substitute goalkeeper for Nova. So they're going to make all their changes. The referee did bring out his yellow card. Not sure who it was actually who committed that foul. Did you get a look, Jake?
I believe It may have been Ascoli, but I'm not 100% sure. It's either Axman or Ascoli.
Whoever it was, a yellow card was issued. Nova with a decently positioned free kick. Predators have got everyone back. Driven onto the frame, but well over the crossbar.
It must have been Ascoli because Axman is on this far side of the pitch here. I just saw, so I think it was Ascoli.
And Nova are going to make their goalkeeping change too. Latona will come on for Hartman. Well, I don't think could be faulted for any of the goals he's conceded.
I question why this change is being made. Maybe just trying to get the backup goalkeeper some experience. Other than that, I'm not exactly sure.
I think Latona might have got a yellow card towards the end of that first half when they were being dished out left, right and centre for dissent on the bench. Guys, a reminder, we've got lots more action coming up on Game of Fame this summer. Next on the docket is Tuesday night, American Soccer Club will be in action. Live from Hofstra, they'll be taking on Hartford City in the APSL North Atlantic Conference. Bit of defending here to be done by August Axman. He does it well. And Wilson will keep it in. Retrieved by Savage. Drives it in towards West.
Oh, good defending.
Jack McDade, who took that nasty knock on his nose in the first half, undeterred, threw himself in, held nothing back.
And you could say, I don't know, he just grabbed the shorts and hunched over. I probably didn't feel too good on that nose, if I had to guess. But a necessary piece of defending, too. He was tracking the runner all the way. Oh, what a touch.
Lacey, Ridge Robinson, who is on a hat-trick now, don't forget. And on 27 goals in the APSL campaign, he's hard to stop. Ridge Robinson, he could only stop himself in the end, slightly too high with the finish. It was a weaving run.
It's a hydration break, I think they said.
Yeah, water break here. Ridge Robinson maybe feeling a little bit of his 31 years old, but he didn't look like it as he streaked into the 18-yard box with 25-year-olds and below trailing after him for pace.
The thing that I can't understand is how easy he makes the game look. If you are fortunate enough to play this beautiful game, you know that it's easy on paper, but hard to be very good at. And Ridge Robinson is just so good and makes the game look so easy. Even in moments like that when you think he's second best to get to that ball with two Nova players standing there. Somehow, not only does he get it, he gets in behind. He's just a dynamic, really knowledgeable player and always seems to have his body in the right position. That's how he got those two goals in the earlier in this half. So just so hard to contend with, especially when Robinson isn't the only goal threat.
And guys, I'll take this opportunity as well to thank our sponsor, Salt Athletic, who have made the world's freshest, most advanced cleat bag. Their case block smell using anti-microbar technology, magnetically seals, makes for odor-free car rides, homes, apartments. And they're offering the Game of Frame community a 10% discount. Scan the QR code to get 10% off the air case. Big thank you to Salt for sponsoring Game of Frame in the 24-25 season. Well, this final quarter of the game, little more than a formality at this point, with Nova 4 down and a man down. Beyond doubt that Westchester Predators will lift an APSL national title in their first ever season in the conference. And it will be back-to-back defeats in the championship final for Nova. albeit Nova will still hold the highest number of trophies won, and you would bet on them to be back here next year. They've won the Mid-Atlantic Conference 4 years running. AJ Shetter looking for Savage, too much on it.
Good goalkeeping from Nice, using every inch of that 18-yard box. Offsides.
Flag will go up, and it looks like Westchester actually made a change. At the interval. Just have to verify that shortly. Actually, no, excuse me, I think it's still Pat McDade in the middle. No, it's a new player on number 18. We don't actually have him on the roster. Jake, do you recognise who that might be?
Don't quote me on this. I think that might be backup goalkeeper Eric Axtman.
Getting a run out, perhaps.
Because if I remember correctly, I believe that was the number that Nice was wearing on the field yesterday. So that number might be reserved for the backup goalkeeping kit. Which makes our job a little bit tougher in commentary because now there are two Axmans on the pitch.
As well as McDade's. Dorsey. That was a good ball in, and West, the smallest man in that penalty area, met it with a lot of power. Probably should have done a bit better with that. Couldn't keep it down. It's a decent height as he met it.
That's the real shame about that second yellow is because Nova, there are flashes where you say they can really compete with this Predators team. Unfortunately, as you see here, the Westchester expanding the space, it looks like they may as well be 3 men up.
I think I did them say Eric Axman, so it's Eric Axman, the backup goalkeeper, who's on. Tidites. Scully. Lacey. There's Robertson back into Lacey. Couldn't thread it through the yellow shirts. Philo with not a lot to aim for. Did about the best he could. Found Savage. Savage unable to keep that ball in. Even when they went down to 10 though, Jake, if Nova had just consolidated and prevented those 2 in, they still had a very thin hope, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with a two-goal lead. That next goal is always the most crucial. Once you go down, obviously, you know, you have an uphill battle. But if Nova somehow make that 2-1, this is a totally different game. It's just, I think it just made Westchester's job that much easier going forward. And now it just looks an insurmountable lead.
Ball ran away from Dean. And Dean was late with his tackle.
It's always tough when you're the player called for the foul and you probably got the worst out of the collision.
August Axman. Good step by Filer. Couldn't slot it through to Zhang. Filer. Dean.
Nice play.
Filer. West at that near post. I think he's trying to ricochet that off of August Axman. I think his teammates might wonder a little if he could have had a slightly better idea than that, given the position he was in.
I don't think I've ever seen a move like that done with such angst. He really put his foot through that one, hoping for the ricochet. But it's always the possibility of looking a bit silly if it doesn't pan out.
That's gone into the tree line behind the goal.
Which is not particularly close if you can't tell on camera.
Lacey
Look at that
is
ball.
going to race after this. He's going to keep it in. He's got 3 white shirts with him. Dylan Lacey.
Nice defending.
Didn't make the most of that at all. Zhang. That's a good ball. Savage off with his first touch. He'll keep it alive though. I do just wonder if perhaps Westchester's legs are a little heavier despite the man advantage as his Zhang! Oh, it's an excellent strike. An arrow. It's probably a little more than a consolation goal, but it's something for Nova to remember. Gary Zhang with a tremendous hit.
I mentioned it at the beginning, Josh. This Westchester team concedes. And when was that goal going to come? It needed to come when it was 2-0 to make it 2-1. Unfortunately, I feel like it's just come a bit late. And it's good to see that the Nova guys look like they're gearing up. And that goal's done them some good for their confidence. But it doesn't have that negative impact that you'd hope for on Westchester because, again, they still have a comfortable lead.
Not actually a dissimilar goal from what Kickoff Elite scored yesterday against Westchester. Similar position, similar placement.
4-0 as well.
If you want to know what happened after that, don't ask Kickoff Elites. I think they've probably already tried to erase it from their memories.
But, you know, the reason that happens is because they let themselves hang their heads. If Nova can keep their heads, stay disciplined, there are goals against this team, even a man down.
And the point I was making right before that goal went in is I do wonder if Nova's legs are fresher because they've made 6 outfield subs. They made 6 outfield subs yesterday, and it was a lot hotter during Westchester's game. Although Westchester had the longer turnaround, they were playing in about 90-degree heat, and the sun had gone behind the clouds by the time Nova kicked off, and really probably about 75. Not a hugely deep bench either, I believe, for Westchester.
Especially because a substitute's already been made, and it was really kind of a tip of the cap to Axman maybe to just get him on the pitch. That's not really a change that is substantial from the tactical perspective. So it is something to keep an eye on, especially because players like Ridge Robinson played full 90 yesterday. I mean, they did make a lot of subs, but Dylan Lacey as well, full 90. So the legs are going to get heavy. It may not look like it, but when you play 180 minutes in less than 48 hours, I mean, it's going to wear on even the most fit of these players.
T. Dites, he's wriggled away from Hilton. Ridge Robinson, it's a hat trick.
Oh.
Just when Nova had a slight ray of hope, Ridge Robinson scores number 28 in the APSL season, gets a hat trick, one of many this campaign, and makes it 5-1 for Westchester Predators.
Name me another player in this league that has the presence and the wherewithal when a ball is fizzed into you as a target man inside the 6 to take a touch. Nobody, no goalkeeper on planet Earth is prepared for a number 9 not to shoot there. And to have the presence of mind to just put his foot on that, let the goalkeeper clear himself out of the way, and just tuck it into the back of the net, just making this game look so easy is Ridge Robinson. A hat trick, well deserved. The second half hat trick as well.
He sometimes makes it look like the goalkeepers and defenders are a little more than training cones, doesn't he? And he's just weaving his path that only he can see between them.
He's just got to give defenders and especially goalkeepers nightmares. And the only consolation for Nova is they would only have to face him again in this game next year. But I feel very badly for all the APSL Delaware River Conference teams taking in this final because there's a good chance they're going to have to put up with him next year too.
Dorsey towards the far post. Savage keeps it alive for Nova. Filer looking to dance his way past Mello, who somehow is still standing after 3 or 4 substantial knocks. He just kicked that ball out there. I think he was just waiting for another hit there from Filer.
At some point, you get a little gun shy out there when you take knock after knock after knock, and I think maybe Mallore's finally just had enough of. Kept that ball in.
Stood out by McDade. Dorsey has offered quite a lot going forwards for Nova. In fact, times looking like he's struggling a little bit to cope with Leish on that far side. And then there was some pushes off the ball. West pushing, and then I thought he was walking over for a second to help August Axman to his feet, but he wasn't.
He stepped over nice, as if to say that, that make some point about his physicality, but he's got to have a look at the scoreboard. I mean, what is he thinking?
Two Nova players are a little worse for wear after getting hit by the turbo missile West.
I think Nice might have slipped when he was trying to go get that ball, and then when he was down, I think that someone hit him. I think it may have even been his own player. And like, what are you doing?
West is going to add his name to the book.
I don't understand what he's thinking.
And then also a yellow card, I think, has been issued to Wilson.
That might. I think that's Axman.
You're right, actually. Yep.
Yeah.
And West has got to be very careful. He's still talking.
Well, and so was Axman. So like, I mean, do these players know what a yellow card is? It's crazy to me that you've seen this referee issue, 2 or 3 cards for dissent now, and you're still talking. And you hear the Westchester coaching staff, shut your mouth. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't. You can be unhappy with the decision and keep your mouth shut. Both of those things can be true.
He's been given quite a stern talking to there, August Axman, by Coach Blazer.
I mean, and from the Nova perspective, I mean, a second yellow for Westchester, all of a sudden, time is unfortunately getting away from them, but that would be the only thing that might give you some real hope going forward, would be a man down. So from the Westchester perspective, why even risk it?
Jack McDade. Westchester also getting payback for the defeat in the last meeting between the sides in the Amateur Cup. Lacey. Feels a long time ago now, his goal, which started the scoring here in Pennsylvania. Shetter. Hilton. Finally gives it back to Hilton. Shetter. Dorsey. Dean. Sang didn't have an option on. He's going to get the throw in right by Westchester's corner flag. Westchester will be the first Delaware River team to win the APSL national title. Lansdowne won it in the first year, 2021, and then Nova won 2022-2023, and the Greeks, of course, last year. As you said, Jake, you've got to feel for all the other Delaware River Conference sides. It's hard to imagine anyone else dethroning Westchester next year if their similar squad comes back. It's Ridge Robinson here.
Especially with this man at the front.
Thinking of turning this time. He was held up by Hilton, who did really well. Patient defending by Hilton. Didn't commit too early.
Ridge was just apologizing to Eric Axman because the backup goalkeeper was in on goal if Ridge would have just played him the ball. But a little selfish from the Westchester skipper. Hard to blame him when you score 28 goals in a season.
Maybe he's got that 30 tally in mind. He does have time to get it. 10 minutes left. His first 2 goals today came in the space of 2 minutes.
To your point, the Delaware River Conference teams have a really interesting offseason that's about to begin here in just a few minutes, because there are teams in that division that can compete with these guys, namely Alloy, namely Oakland. Even Kensington and Philadelphia Soccer Club have really talented players, but right now that gap is a gulf. And to close it, there's going to need to be a lot of talent development, maybe some talent acquisition as well, in a few short months, because the beautiful thing about the APSL is it's not too long before we get going again.
That ball just overhit their foot. Lacey. Another change is being made here. Bogor's going to come on. And I'm just wondering, Jake, if actually the number 18, again, we don't have it on the roster. I'm just wondering if it's actually August Ginley, even, who was an outfielder named today in the squad.
Number 18, you say?
Yeah, perhaps. We had him listed on the roster as number 4.
I'm almost positive that's Eric Axman, and I'm pretty sure I heard Ridge call him Eric.
We'll stick with that then. We'll stick with it.
Yeah, I don't want to say I'm 100% certain, because the trick with the APSL is that the squad numbers don't necessarily stay consistent.
Floated over the top, Savage in behind.
It's good goalkeeping by Nice to come a long way again. He's made a few of those really crucial decisions where it seems really tempting to stay at home, but I think he had to come there, and he did.
As we move into the final minutes of this contest, Jake, Westchester Predators, a total unknown to us, a lot of us who hadn't followed the club previously before they came into the APSL. They made quite a way beating Alloy 1-0 on the first day, which back then we thought was a shock. They then went on to beat Alloy by quite a more significant margin in spring. But is there a moment where you thought we're looking at a potential national contender here?
So, I will admit, there are probably reasons to have assumed that this could be possible earlier in the season, but the moment I knew for certain was the second match versus Alloy. When Alloy came to them in the springtime, and it was a trouncing, Josh. 8-1, it could have been more. It really could have. And Alloy, for those of you unfamiliar with the Delaware River Conference, Alloy did essentially what Westchester's doing this season last year. New guys coming in, taking the league by storm. They won the regular season title. Now, they didn't make it past the gauntlet that is the Delaware River Conference playoffs to make it into this format. But Alloy, who did almost the carbon copy the season before, getting slaughtered 8-1. I mean, I knew they were good. I didn't think they were that good. And I have a confession to make. When you gave me the assignment for Alloy and these new guys in week 1, I thought you were crazy. I thought we were going to go see a slaughter the other way for Alloy. And you see the quality came through even all the way back then. But as this squad's played together more and gotten more familiar with the Delaware River Conference format, I mean, they are just flying right now, as you can see.
Here's Dean. Spinning. Comes towards AJ Shetter. Back into the mixer. Cleared out simply enough. Tossi brings it back. And here's Eric Axman in the middle. Looking for a pass to Rich Robinson. Good policing of the area by Zhang. Out AJ Shetter. Final seconds of normal time. Don't imagine the officials were up for a lot of stoppage time, given the scoreline.
Don't forget, this game was supposed to be over around 2 o'clock. Remember, a kickoff time was initially for noon. So I'm sure the referees aren't going to feel the need to stick around too much longer.
I know one of the referees was complaining he had some family plans. Hope he hasn't gotten too much trouble with his significant other.
I hope he tells the significant other what a great game of football he was able to officiate today, and hopefully she'll see the light. It was all worth it.
Sure she will. I mean, you know, it's certainly a well-balanced first half. I can only hope the same for me, Jake. I'm not sure I'm going to be so lucky after a very busy May and June of late nights live streaming. But we'll see. But first half, it was intriguing, wasn't it? It looked early on as if Westchester were going to run away with it after going 2-0 up 30 minutes, but Nova stabilised, had some chances, and that second half very well set up. But, you know, a mix of a silly first yellow card for Nova and then perhaps a slightly harsh second from the referee really put this beyond all doubt.
If only we could have seen how this one played out without that red card. It really had the potential to be a classic. And unfortunately, it's gone the way of so many Westchester games, which is just an overwhelming press.
It might be another consolation here, but the flag was up against Savage. Going to stoppage time now. And of course, we're going to have post-match reaction with Westchester Predators. As soon as this full-time Whistles band will get the trophy presentation too. I think the trophy actually might have got a little knock in the Storm's early today. It fell off its podium. There was high winds when we had the lightning storms that delayed this kickoff. Raking ball out to the right side. T. Dites, can Westchester rub salt in the wound here? T. Dites onto his left foot, it's lovely. T. Dites, he's going for it himself. They all want a gun the action. Bogle's offside. Filer did just about enough to halt the marauding T. Dites. Got a little toe on the ball. Not a great ball by Filer.
Strong challenge put in there. It actually ended up working against Westchester.
Here's West. Corner kick. Again, just to give you a picture of Westchester's incredible form in this post-season. We're going to have 5 minutes more stoppage time, it sounds like. So between the Delaware River playoffs and this final, Westchester scored 21 goals and conceded 2.
So there's Ginley now over there on that left-hand side, Josh. He was the one that put that slide challenge in.
Cavillo with a almost toe poke there. I think it was a toe poke. Very comfortable save for nice. So that's the whole Westchester bench on the field now. Goalkeeper and all. It's not a bad gig being the backup Westchester goalkeeper, is it? It's a toss-up where you're going to be in between the sticks or get a run out at centre forwards.
And you know, like, it's easy to talk about how fun it is and how silly it is that the backup goalkeepers are on the pitch, but a lot of people don't realize how talented of just soccer players in general the modern goalkeeper is. You know, gone are the days when you just stuck the guy with the worst feet back there. I mean, you see, I mean, the goal that Valentin Nice scored yesterday, a 30-yard chip shot when the goalkeeper came off his line. That's not something that any hack can do. These guys are genuinely talented soccer players. Axman's no different, making really smart, intelligent runs in the middle of the park. And it's good for goalkeepers to get the experience, the first-hand experience of field players when you're demanding that left winger to get back and mark and you know, there's other types of communications you need to make during a game. it's a lot better when you can do so having done it yourself.
Nice. T-Dites, excuse me.
Look, Axman's in. Oh, what a touch!
Oh, that would have been quite a fast touch, wouldn't it? If he'd pulled that off. You can see Nova just want the full-time Western. You can't blame them. They have fought on as bravely as they can with the man disadvantage for almost the entirety of the second half.
And they've come a long way to play this match, Josh, too. I don't want to leave that out. Several-hour drive for Nova to come here. It's just, unfortunately, did not go the way that any of them or their fans wanted. But you can't forget that the reason that they're here is because they've had an amazing season, winning that semifinal yesterday in really nice fashion. But unfortunately, not the fairy tale ending that they had hoped for.
Eric Axman knocks it inside. T-Dites. Then we're about to get the full-time whistle here, and a historic moment for Westchester Predators. And that is that. Westchester Predators complete their inaugural blitz of the APSL. They ran rampant through the Delaware River Conference, undisputable champions, and they've done the same in the Nationals. They won 10-1 yesterday against Kickoff Elite, and they've beaten Nova, the two-time champions, 5-1. And you cannot argue that they are not the deserved winners, Westchester, although the scoreline might not have been as heavy had Nova stayed with 11 players. Still, Westchester overall were the better side and deserved winners, aren't they, Jake?
Yeah, just, you know, a fantastic season. Looking on paper, it'd be hard to argue whether any other team in the APSL was more deserving. But, of course, these games aren't played on paper. They're played on the pitch, and there was only one clear winner today, and it was Westchester Predators, a deserved champion and the probably most deserved champion that you could hope for if you're anyone in the Delaware River Conference to represent you as the first APSL winner from the Delaware River Conference. So kudos to Westchester on a great season, and we're looking forward to seeing what they can produce next year as well.
Well, guys, Jake and I are going to head down now to pitch side for our APSL trophy ceremony. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. Hey guys, welcome back. We've got our trophy presentation here. Westchester waving their small, albeit dedicated supporter section who've travelled today.
Soak in sunlight. It's so much warmer down here. Fortunately for these players, not quite as bad as at least the Westchester game yesterday, where it was roasting here in Allentown.
Nova are going to have to make the unwanted walk again to pick up their silver medals. Actually, no, they're not. They're just going to be handed out. They gave it their all in that final, but too steep a hill to climb as soon as they went down to 10. But a remarkable achievement nonetheless to make 4 consecutive APSL national finals. But there's no doubt it's the Predators' day. It's the Predators' season. And here's the orchestrator, Coach Blaze, who you've had a lot of interaction with, Jake, this season. How much do you think this means to him?
I mean, it means a lot, not just because he gets the championship, right? That's the culmination of all those hours you put in to training and making these guys work together as a cohesive unit, because it's not a video game. These guys need to learn each other's style of play. They need to become more familiar with each other just as teammates. And you saw it that first game playing Alloy. It was a 1-0 win. I wouldn't call it a particularly convincing win. It was a good win. But to look at that team and then look at this team that has just done nothing but score goals for fun and defend pretty well to boot. I mean, you see the growth, and obviously the players have a huge part in that, but so does the manager. And credit to Blaze for leading one of the best teams the APSL's ever seen.
Perhaps the start of a new era of dominance in the APSL for the Predators. It's hard to imagine they won't be back here in the Nationals next season. But mind you, you said the same about Alloy last year, and then maybe someone else is coming that we don't know. But
Josh, I love this job because I can be wrong all the time. And I was wrong about these guys, and I'm happy to be wrong, because what a team they are.
Ridge Robinson, the talisman for this Westchester Predators side, will lift the trophy. Westchester Predators are the APSL national champions in their inaugural season. And who could dispute their reign? Absolutely dominant in almost every respect in the DRC, in the Nationals. We're going to get some post-match reaction very shortly, guys. So we're just going to get a few pictures, and then we're going to go grab some people for interviews. Going to leave this mic with you just for a second, Jake. Whilst I go fish.
One of the really cool things that Westchester does after every match is they have like little superlatives that they give out. They give out their own Man of the Match award. Of course, we always pick our own here on Game and Frame to come talk to us afterwards, but they pick their own Man of the Match. They pick their own best defender of the match, and so on and so forth. And I think that might just add a bit of that team building and team bonding that is what makes a team this successful, because a team is obviously a summation of its parts, and that's certainly true talent-wise, but you can't be this effective and this efficient without being a cohesive unit, and this might be one of the most cohesive units we've ever seen in the APSL. you can see here at the front of this group, Ridge Robinson and Dylan Lacey, who are undoubtedly players of the tournament for not just Westchester, but for the APSL in general. Ridge Robinson with a hat trick today, Dylan Lacey with 2 goals yesterday, a goal today, and 3 assists yesterday to boot, and a couple more today as well. He has just been, both of them have just been incredible players all season, but especially today in particular.
All right, guys. Well, I'm here with Chaz Wilson and Ridge Robinson. Ridge, I'll start with you. You're the club captain. You're the top scorer. I know you get bored of us asking questions about your goals, but a hat trick today. What is your secret?
It's all the team. I mean, I had a couple really easy goals. The team made the goals today, so I'm very thankful for the team. That's what it is.
A very humble answer. Chaz, you scored your first goal of the season. It was quite a goal to really put you guys in control. What was the key to the really strong start you guys made this afternoon?
I think it's just attitude, right? We're in a tough spot playing back-to-backs. We have a very heavy schedule, but rather than making mistakes, we came in with the right attitude and say, hey, let's go right at them and let's be confident in our abilities, and we got it done.
Ridge, at halftime, you guys were 2 up. You definitely were the better side in that first half, but you knew Nova was going to throw things at you. Obviously, the red card changed a lot, but what was the mentality for you guys and the team talk going into that second half?
Yeah, one of our strengths all season is usually the second half. We come out really strong. I think we do a lot of training during the entire year, so we're kind of at the end of the season here, and that's kind of what we do. I think it's a normal thing for us.
Chaz, it's such a long campaign, the APSL. It started all the way back in September. Yeah, there's plenty of tough games, sometimes on weekday nights. You guys all have other stuff going on. What has been the key ingredient for you guys to succeed across a 9-month season?
I just think overall commitment from the entire roster, right? You might not have every guy available on any given night. You know, at the beginning of the year, I think we started out 1-1-1 in the league. And then eventually we had some guys that we challenged to commit and show up and be there. And they started to, and we started getting it done.
Ridge, I'll finish with you. You live and breathe this club. You've won the APSL national title with some of the top pre-professional sides in the country in your first season. What does it mean to you as a Westchester Predators man?
Yeah, well, no one's a bigger club man than this guy here. He's been here longer than me.
So I'll ask you that after then, yeah.
As someone who has been here for a while, we want to win every single competition we play. So when we got invited into this league, we knew that was our goal from day one. And we started off with a win at Alloy, the reigning champions in our conference, and we just took it from there. Like Chaz said, we started a little bit slow, got good commitment, and this was our goal from day one.
What does it mean, Chaz?
I mean, it's everything. You know, after college, a lot of guys think that, you know, soccer's done for you, but, you know, Coach Blaze has created this club, and Ridge is helping basically to run the club with him to keep the dream alive and give us old guys an outlet to just keep it going as long as we can. And we even got some young guys that want to go pro, and, you know, we're all at different stages of our career, but at the end of the day, we all want to compete, we all want to have fun, and we want to win titles like this.
You two going to be back next year?
I hope so. We do hope so.
Not retirement yet. You certainly looked as fresh as a 22-year-old in that temperature, so congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Excellent performance, excellent season. It's been a pleasure watching you, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, take care, guys. So, Coach Blaze, congratulations on the victory. Firstly, when did it dawn on you that you guys were national contenders?
Well, we like to think that we're national contenders in everything we do. I mean, our goal is to win national titles here, and if we don't win a national title, we feel like we failed for the year. So we've been in other national finals, and we've had success. We've been in national finals in other leagues and cup competitions, and we've had failures. So this is the 4th one that we've gotten since 2015 at a national level, and it's our first time in the league. So I think the real key was trying to balance things out. We have probably 200 college kids in the summertime, and kids are always graduating, so we're trying to find another avenue for them to stay within the club. So we needed another league. And a lot of guys played a couple games, 3 games a week maybe, in the different leagues and national cups that we play in. So we have very deep rosters, and that allows us to get through like the gauntlet of these matches. I mean, The other thing is we have probably 6 or 7, maybe 8 guys that should be pros, and they shouldn't be playing at this level. They just, for whatever reason, haven't gotten locked onto a team yet, and they still have a dream. And so we knew that this year would be a pretty successful year for us in all our different outlets because we have great players that shouldn't be playing at the amateur level anymore. So them being around really helps their young guys. And, we knew that we'd be able to be competitive because a lot of the other teams that are in the league, especially in the other conferences that we know and we've played against in the past at all the different levels, we know what they are and what they can do, and we wanted the challenge to play great teams throughout this league.
In this final today, you face Nova, who you guys know well. You've met before in national competitions. Nova, I mean, there's a lot of good teams across conferences, but Nova have probably been the consistently top team. They've made 4 finals in a row. Yeah. What was your message to the team leading up to this game?
Just to respect them because their ownership and their coaches and their staff, as well as their players, like they do this thing like we do. 12 months out of the year. They're in a lot of the same leagues and competitions we're in, and they do it right. So we look at ourselves and we want to do things right. We're not at the pro level. I think if there was a semi-pro league that Westchester United, WC Predators, we would be a perfect team to be a semi-pro organization. So, I respect Mo and the boys and all their players because Virginia has some great players and they get great players out of the state, and we work like they work, so it's easy to have respect for them.
But beyond just the quality that you guys have shown throughout the season, you've scored for fun at times. How much did it mean to you to have old guys on the team like Ridge and Chaz who just seem to be so emotionally connected to the club? Yeah,
I mean, they're older than some players, but they're not old yet. There's a thing, when we mix our young guys in with the older guys, and we have some top high schoolers that are playing with them in these competitions, and the kids grow up a lot quicker. They learn to be held accountable by the older guys. There's no BS in training. So to have older players, it helps us as a staff. We're all volunteer staff, so it helps us to run the club. And it creates a culture that is obviously a winning culture. And they're really the key to our club.
You guys have done it all in the first season. You couldn't have, at least in the APSL. I know you guys are playing in lots of other competitions too. I think we've in total streamed Westchester 3 times this week, and also between the APSL too. Yeah. But what's next for the club? How can you top this next year in the APSL at least?
I mean, I think do the same thing. Get back. Listen, we would go out there and train 4 days a week, whether we were playing in the league or not. A lot of our guys just want to be on the field, want to be together. And, I think just continue doing what we're doing, playing, dominating soccer. And, success breeds success. Our motto is talent develops talent. So, we always have good guys coming in. For some of the summer guys that play in some of our other leagues, our national leagues as well, they're having opportunities here. So we can open opportunities so we get more and more players because we're in a lot more competitions. And we have a lot of abilities to go and play for national trophies like this one. So we're just real thankful. And, we're going to keep doing the same thing we do. Let the ball be the boss. And, the ball really is the coach at our club.
Final question I'll ask is, how much have you enjoyed being in the APSL this first season?
I mean, I think it's great. We're working on a new badge. Last year we brought a new badge into the club because we started another a second team in another national league. So the APSL has been great, really, really great to help build that badge and build our recognition. The social media, the coverage from you guys, it's been awesome. And the league has a big footprint and a growing footprint, and all that means a lot of good, good notoriety for us.
Well, Coach, it's been an absolute pleasure watching you guys this year. We've seen so many goals. I mean, it's never been boring. I know Jake's been doing most of it in Philadelphia, but we just cannot wait to see you guys next year. And congratulations on this incredible achievement for the first season.
Thank you very much. We are looking for a goal recap from you guys for the season. So if you have like 50 minutes, we'll take it.
We're going to need more than that to edit all your goals, mate. It's going to be 4 hours. We'll try and get it done, though.
Yeah, we have fun, man. We like to score goals. We always tell the kids, even the young kids that come in, like, we don't want to be winning games 1-0. We'd rather rather win 5-2 and play exciting style soccer, break the lines, continue to go forward. We're out here to have fun and go at frame. So that's kind of where we are.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for your time, Coach. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Congratulations. Hope you guys can get some good celebrations.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks.
All right.
Really appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, that just about does it. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. That just about does it for us here at Allentown, Pennsylvania. It's been a long day, starting to figure out where we are. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to the APSL for bringing us down here, trusting us to do these finals. They've had just about everything, lots and lots of good moments. Westchester Predators, the inaugural champions. Thanks to Jake coming in here, Jake. Thanks for coming in and coming down here. It's been a pleasure co-commentating. Hope we can do it again soon.
Oh, I really hope so. And thanks to Josh for organizing all of this. Probably the most extensive coverage we've had for an amateur game, and this is the guy behind all the live streams we're able to bring you all season, and hopefully for many more years to come.
You're making me blush. And also got to give a big thank you to everyone who's come out today. Jorge Espinosa and Benjamin DeBroca doing great work on camera. Nick Krause doing fantastic work on camera. And Nick and Ben doing great work along with Phil covering Westchester Predators and the whole DRC this season. And a huge thank you to the whole Game of Frame team we've got for another big weekend. Guys, we're going to still probably have another 15 fixtures on the docket, so just stay tuned to our YouTube, stay tuned to our Instagram, and then once summer season's over, we'll be back in force in September. But for now, this is Josh Pratt signing off from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays, everyone.